Welcome to the Trauma Unit Podcast. This is your host, John. And I would like to start off with a quote from one of my favorite producers, Jay Dilla. You have come so far, you've got so far to go. So, I'm thinking, in the days and times that we're in right now, we have so far to go. We've almost stepped back 30 steps to where we were at, and it's almost like a fresh reset of where we're at in this lifetime. You know, the economy is crazy, homelessness is at an all-time high, violence is at an all-time high. Everybody's really just expressing how they feel on the inside. The inside is really coming to fruition to the outside, so you can no longer mask what's going on with you, how you're feeling, how you're adjusting to the world. And I like to say, ladies and gentlemen, this is a red wine type of affair. The cup is full, the hookah is lit, so don't blame the noise in the background. Excuse me, I just took a sip. So, as I'm adjusting with the world, as the world is turning, I'm realizing that I'm not adjusting fast enough. I'm not moving in the capacity in which is going to direct change that is necessary for not only myself, for those around me. You know, what I was doing, how I was moving before wasn't good enough for the world. You know, just to give you a little background, I lost my job as soon as the pandemic really started. I lost a couple things as soon as the pandemic really started. So, realizing and recapping and trying to regain what I lost is almost an impossibility at this point. So really it's just about refocusing in the areas that I was strongest in and that you are strong in, and realizing there's real trauma behind it. And not trying to disguise the trauma, accepting the trauma and moving forward in that trauma. Because these situations are truly traumatic of what's going on. Realizing that you can always forget what you hear, but you can't forget what you see. And we're seeing things not only with our minds, but our hearts and our eyes. So, refocusing is hard when the trauma is so thick. The trauma is so thick. To the point where the trauma is weighing on you daily and you are almost wearing ankle weights and a body vest, trying to accomplish the simple goals like going to the store, or trying to find a fun activity that is healthy for you, not only for you, but your family and friends. You know, it gets to a point where we had a crease of kind of dishonesty with ourselves that we could live in, but we can no longer live in that crease because there is nothing to mask that. That right there is trauma in itself. You know, that right there is trauma in itself. And trauma is never really good because trauma affects you in the long run and not the short run of life. And that's maybe just how I see trauma. Trauma continues to affect me till this day, certain childhood traumas. Now I'm experiencing adulthood traumas, and it makes me realize that our fathers, our mothers, our grandfathers, these people that lived on this earth before us experienced traumas and passed those traumas down to us. You know? So, I know I may have got off topic, but I was just speaking on the fact that this trauma that we are individually facing is now faced with the world. You know, the summer is looking like winter, winters are looking like summer. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We're in the middle of the summer, transitioning into the fall with multiple 100-degree days. Like there ain't old folks that need air conditioners and things like that. Things are sold out in the stores and you can't go buy what you need, but you can buy what you want and what you don't need. You know? So many people have money and nothing to spend it on. You have to get to a point to realize that we are going through a traumatic event. Who knows what they'll call this point in time in life? You know, they've had Great Depressions. They've had things that have rattled and shooken the ground. That the very people that, you know, you grew up with experienced those things. You know? Let me, pardon me while I take a sip of this red wine, because it is, the playoffs are getting ready to start. So, you know, I'm on my LeBron tip, and I'm sipping that red wine. Brought to you by Target in third row. But, you know, it's just recognizing that you have a traumatic event going on and realizing that you're going through trauma and realizing that there is no proper adjustment to the trauma that is going on right now. I don't know how many times I've tried to adjust myself and fit myself in the perfect position to fit the criteria that is needed, and I'm not needed in that criteria. It's really almost like a deep fear that this trauma is going to hunt me for the rest of my life. But so far have we came, so far have we gone and need to go. This is only the beginning. And when you start to realize that this is only the beginning, you realize the ending with certain things were just meant to happen. Certain things were meant to come to a close. You know? But is there a perfect reset in which life can reset and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris can come in and reset the focus of the country and navigate through this traumatic bullshit that we're going through right now? Who knows? You know? I don't think I'll really ever be the same again. You know? And that's tough for me to say, because people will want to get back to who they originally were, and there is no option for you to do that. There's not an option for you to do that at this moment. You know? I'm sitting here recording this podcast at 1:18 because 1:18 a.m. because I can't sleep. You know, because this trauma is on me. It's weighing on me. You know? One of the reasons I created this podcast, so I can express myself in a healthy manner to the public who is going through the same things as me but can't articulate themselves in a way that I can. You know? Where are the healthy outlets? Where are the therapists for our communities? You know? So many people are going through traumatic situations, disease, COVID. You can't even get seen by a doctor properly or be evaluated in the way that a disease can really be found on the inside of you. Consistent miscommunications turn into communications lost in translation, if that makes any sense. You know? There's so much lack in communication. Where do you even start? I guess the proper thing to say, it starts with me, but really does it start with you being honest with yourself? And not only honest with yourself, but honest with life that is right in front of you. You know? Because I guarantee you, life ain't gonna stop. No matter if you wanted to stop, life is not going to stop. The world keeps spinning. When it's dark on this side, it's light on the other side. And life doesn't give no breaks to nobody out here. You know? You know, I think about my childhood days when I would walk to school and be wearing the same clothes that I wore that Monday or that Tuesday, and I try to switch the shirt around, wear my brother's clothes and things like that. That was traumatic for me. But I did it not because I didn't have a decent pair of clothes, it's because I wanted to be fresh. You hear me? Fresh. You know? So it's like life is about the honesty for yourself. You know? Get what you need from this life, because this life is just so complicated, and it's like Tetris. You know, how will you really put it together at the end of the day? You know, with all this trauma going on. You know, they say this might last till 2021. Now we having rolling blackouts and forest fires and the same problems that we had before this even started. So who's going to be the problem solver? I guess you. I guess me. But I guess the only way that really happens is if true communication really ever happens, which doesn't happen. But I guess one can only hope that the trauma will be fulfilled and healed in a different way. You know? How are people really healing these days? When you are looking for healing, you can't even go to church. Do you hear me? If that's an option that you would like to take, you can't even take that option. You know? It's just, as I sit here and I think, we were never prepared to go through this type of process of honesty, ever. I don't think there was no generation, you know? Slavery was cut clear and dry. You work for me and you work for me for free. But in this day and age, you work for me if you do what I say, if you accept my policies and procedures. You know? The true navigation of the world is just so corrupt. So how do you not expect your people to turn corrupt as well? How do we have leadership that's so corrupted? That causes trauma when your leadership is corrupted. You know, like they always say, it starts from the top of the snake's head. That's the only way that you can really defeat the obstacle that you are going, is starting from the head and then going to the tail. You don't start from the ass and, you know what I mean, fix the problem. You're dealing with shit back there. Straight shit. You know, so I will say to the parents that are struggling with not being able to send your kid to school, that's traumatic. We're just dealing with trauma that is mounting and mounting and mounting and mounting, and it's getting to a point where you think, where will you break? Where will you bend? Will you bend too much to the point where you lose yourself, or you lose your health and your wealth? You lose all three. That's 3 for me, and that's none for you. That's the way the government's working, to be honest with you. You know? So I am just desiring healing in a different, magnificent way. And will I really receive that? I don't know. You know? You know, you don't even get a relief from social media like you used to. It's trauma, 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 trauma. It's just stacking and stacking and stacking. When will it end? I don't know. But how did it begin? Maybe I got a couple things for you to, take a look at. But that's nor here nor there, because shit ain't anywhere. You know? So I just say to those who are desiring healing from all these things that are going on right in front of your eyes, meditate, think, focus on a plan, a procedure that's going to get you through. Operate like true leadership to fix your traumas. Operate like true leadership to fix the traumas that reside in your heart. This is the Trauma Unit Podcast. This is the host from the most high, John, and I hope you have a wonderful day leading into your week, wonderful day leading into your month, wherever you are, wherever you're at. Y'all take care, and y'all be safe. Peace.